Doyle from OptixEQ, and today I'm going to look at OptixROD to help us identify potential vulnerable or false favorites. Identifying a bad favorite is the key to winning at the track. Everyone kind of knows, but how do you do that, and how do you find things? So I'm going to show you how I use ROD as a tool to help me. So I'm on September the 19th, which is Thursday. And you can see if I go to the list, all the racetracks that we cover in here. So when I click ROD, what it's going to do is going to pick up for that date all the tracks and every horse in the race. It takes a little bit to load, but you're getting all the information about all the horses, all their note information, their plot information, so forth. Loads into this screen display. So you can see big list, right? So what I'm going to do is not necessarily know who the favorite is, but I'm going to just look at morning lines initially less than or equal to 5-2. So I'm just going to get horses that, at least on the morning line, look short. And again, you got to be careful, right? Because all morning line makers are different. Some are really good, some are not so good. And so you always got to go check the odds and see really where things are going. But at least it's a start to try to maybe find some races you want to plunge into because you think the favorite looks bad. So what are the things you can do with OptixROD? Well, there's a couple, right? So the first thing you might want to look at is the Optix Fig for the horse. What we do is, like in Optix Plot, we get to the last 3 run lines into speed figures. So you'll see that there's some gray shading next to this horse, Insane Lifestyle. All that means is if you look over to the left, the field Optix Fig range, that's the range needed, at least projecting, to be needed to win the race today. So it's 74-82. And you can see the shading just means that this horse is within that range. So what I would be looking for is some horses on the morning line, less than or equal to 5-2, whose last 3 races don't hit that. Okay, some of these are just horses that maybe some of the -99s could be horses that either we don't have a figure for because it's an odd distance or something. But at least you can go just scan down and look for horses that just maybe don't look like they hit on all 3. And, as I'm scanning down, this horse would be one. 11, Storming Hong Kong, and that's Charlestown, race 7. So you just could kind of get an idea. These are horses I want to kind of maybe take a look at because at least based on what's projected to be the time needed, or at least the speed figure needed to win this race, this horse is not cutting it. So you would want to be aware of horses like that. And maybe, again, that's starting the process in terms of horses that you might want to consider maybe false or whatever. Again, all depends on the how good your morning line maker is too sometimes. The next thing I kind of look at is the notes. I just kind of look for certain things. Mostly, in the last race, a red keyword. So, again, I'll just scan, or I would type a keyword in that red keyword that I'm particularly fond of, that I think is a good negative, like maybe a perfect trip. And I'm really kind of looking for, at least 2 in the last 3 races, or, at least 1, maybe the last one too, maybe the last race. So as I'm just kind of scanning through. And this one kind of pops out, even though it's only 1 keyword on this horse, number 6 at Gulfstream Park, Looking for More. What pops to me is, this horse, slow out of the gate around a C, which is a kind of a negative race. Could have been against better. Then comes back and we're in second, having an easy lead. And it looks like no lead and no line. That tells me the horse probably didn't shift leads and was drifting, which is kind of a negative, I think. It looks like he's got improving grades, but again, the next race he made a move and no lead, no line. Just a little curious about this horse in terms of his odds and stuff. And you could see if you look at the speed figure thing that we were talking about before, he kind of he qualifies for not having a speed figure within the range needed for today's race, at least what we're projecting. 68-74, this horse hasn't run above 62, and yet he's 9-5 in the morning line. The third thing I kind of look for, and I'm going to keep on looking for more here because he also fits the criteria, is I look for horses that are maybe like in quadrant 3 circles or quadrant 4 circles or something like that, which is, we know, a real negative type of plot position for the most part. So it looks like this horse looking 4 more, is in quadrant 3 and is a circle. A small circle, but a circle nonetheless. How do I know it's a small circle? Well, 1 is a small circle, 2 is medium, and 3 is large, okay? So this gives me information about this horse saying that, okay, 3 things. Kind of 1 is this horse may not be fast enough. 2, it's got some issues with late in races where he drifts or he doesn't change leads. And 3rd, it doesn't look like he plots all that well for this race. So those are like 3 negatives on a horse that's 9 to 5 in the morning line. Again, don't know where he's going to go off at, but at least we've identified a horse that looks like a potential play against at the price. And so that's kind of it. Just those are the criteria I use to try to determine which favorites may be vulnerable or false, and hopefully that helps you. But again, it's a quick way to do this and scan a bunch of races quickly.